Hey, sports fans, this is Stan Wanglund, and welcome to Just Thinking 2022. I think this is going to be episode number 5 today, and thank you for joining me. If you've been enjoying the episodes and you're here today or for the first time, Just Thinking is a platform that was done originally on podcast for about 500 shows for a couple of years, and we were off for a little period of time here. We've come back on YouTube and are working towards reestablishing Just Thinking once again to be a very viable piece of social media. And it's going to take a little while. And thanks for joining us from the ground floor. So if you've liked what you hear today, or one of the previous shows, or something in the future, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment. Contact me at swanglund, SWANGLUND, at gmail.com. For suggested shows or something you liked or didn't like. What the heck ever. Well, it's Monday here in New York. It's a blustery cold, which I love. And snow is going to start falling again. And that kind of goes in line with today's very quick show, kind of called When You're Hot, You're Hot. And When You're Not, You're Not. And boy, that was evident over the weekend with the football games that were on. And, you can see a million shows with people much more knowledgeable about football than yours truly. Even though, I coached the game when my kids were small and enjoyed football as a young guy and all that kind of stuff. I've grown out of kind of being in love with it, for many years, although I enjoy watching the games now and then. I don't get wrapped up in them terribly as I did before. And for some of the reasons, that I'll share here on the show tonight, this very short show. Number one, it's because people get so friggin' carried away, man. You have to take a line out of that wonderful movie Stripes with Bill Murray and Harold Ramis years ago, and that crazy kid sits in the in the Army Bay in boot camp getting to know everybody. He says, I'll kill you, I'll kill you, I'll kill you for this, I'll kill you for that. And, Warren Oates, the guy who plays the drill sergeant, says, lighten up, Francis. Well, the stuff that I saw today, people were suicidal. Of course, I live in New York, about the Bills losing. The Bills have a history, all the way, all the way back going to Kelly and the infamous, field goal attempt or whatever the hell it was, and all the times they get to the Super Bowl weren't winners and all that kind of stuff. And New York teams, my kids are big New York fans, whether it be Mets, Yankees. I've been a Yankees fan. One time I was a Giants fan. I never really liked the Jets a lot, and certainly didn't care for the Buffalo Bills. Just never liked them. Jim Kelly's a great quarterback, but just was never enamored by the team. And you know what? It may be different in different parts of the country. But when you live in New York, man, there's a lot of money here on these teams. The Jets, the Mets, the Giants, the Yankees. Oh, my God. The Yankees, wow. The Bills, all this kind of stuff. But New York teams, Jesus, they're heartbreakers. They're heartbreakers. They always have been. I can't say they always have been, but that's been going on for decades. It just, they're spending huge amounts of money. They always get these head cases in there. I was watching Odell Beckham Jr., playing on for the Rams, and it's like Kanye West in football there. I'm the greatest, I'm a genius. That guy was a cancer when he was with, in my opinion, when he got drafted by the Giants. My God. It's a crazy game. It's a crazy game. But what's crazier than the players are the fans. Football fans, like all fans anywhere, baseball fans, football fans, boxing fans. I've been a big boxing fan for years. Now you have, mixed martial arts fans. Fans come from the word fanatic. The people that, they're half out of their minds when they're seeing their favorite team play or whatever. And man, when I saw today, people, they flipped the coin. It was all decided. The refs are this, I can't believe the Bills did this. They shouldn't have. Brady, what's the matter with him? He's not the, whatever. I mean, it, people become bizarre. They become bizarre over this kind of stuff. And, they're coming up with all kinds of rationalizations. You've got 47,000 ways to analyze this game. Now, Chris Collingwood and Al Michael were doing the game with the Bills, I guess, last night. I guess it was the Bills. I don't even know if it was with the Buccaneers. It might have been with the Bucks. Yeah, I think it was with the Bucks in the afternoon. Yeah, because they were talking about Brady and everything else like that. I've never been a big fan of Chris Collingwood and Al Michael I can tolerate. But, oh my God, it was sickening to me. And I don't mean to sound like a curmudgeon. I hope this is an uplifting show. Because the name of the show is When You're Hot, You're Hot. And, I've seen people trolling other people about teams that have lost, getting violent over it, like everything else lately. There's a freaking game. And it's not even a game. I know it's a business and everything. It's bizarre. So when you're watching something, I guess my message to myself when I've been seeing this stuff for years and say, come on, man. There were coaches in football years ago. I remember the Refrigerator Bowl with, the Dallas Cowboys playing the Packers. Jesus Christ. It was a big deal for these guys to be wearing a pair of gloves, and it was like 100 degrees below zero. Now I watched a guy yesterday. I think it was for the Bills. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think it was for the Bills in the first. A pass right to this guy. Dead on. This is a multi-million-dollar paid athlete. Boom, drops it. And then he's licking his rubber sticky gloves and everything else like this. All kinds of tape all over his muscles for certain groupings and concussion, rightly so, protocols and, radios in their friggin' helmets. That's for decades and everything. Computer shit, analytics, everything being filmed, photographed. Come on. It's absurd. Guys sitting there, if it's hot, they got stuff blowing on them to make them cool. If it's cold, they got stuff going wherever it is. They're, people, the quarterback goes in there, he's on a friggin' laptop. Come on. Chill out, Francis. What's the bottom line when you go through all this technology and everything else? You know what it boils down to many times? It's just random kind of shit. When you're hot, you're hot. When you're not, you're not. I know you're a fan. I may be a fan of somebody, and I know, you get all frustrated and you want to sit there, and that's part of the game of yipping and yapping and everything else like that. But come on, man. Don't take this stuff too seriously. Don't let your blood pressure rise over this stuff, man. Don't get your panties or your tighty-whities in a knot over these guys. Number one, they're being paid obscene amounts of money. And I don't know about you. I don't think football players, I'll just talk about football. I don't think football players were brilliant when I was a kid. But this cast of characters that they have out there right now, half of these guys are mental cases. Now, if you get triggered by the term mental case, I'm using it as, I'm just using it as what I'm saying it is. If you don't like it, don't watch the video. Half of these guys are mental cases, man. You got Antonio Brown there, a couple of weeks ago, stripping all his clothes off and, running around the field. Guys getting personal fouls for in big games, for big things, because they're mental cases. They have no impulse control. They're fired up. They're half out of their mind. People standing there, stuff in front of their mouth, they play, guys up in the stands, stuff on the internet, guys calling plays. They want, they know if you have a hemorrhoid from 1922, if that's going to affect something. And come on, it's way out there. It's way out there. So don't take it too seriously. And again, the title, When You're Hot, You're Hot. Sometimes all that bullshit just breaks down with these characters. With the weather, with somebody's arm. They woke up that morning, they were fighting with their wife. Somebody has an upset stomach. Somebody's got an ass ache. You don't know what it is, man. You multiply that, trying to figure out why all this stuff happens. And I know there's an art to coaching and there's a science to things, and you can increase the probabilities. I know all that. But when it really comes down to it, it's like, it's why meteorology isn't really a science. People like to say that it is, but there's no real predictability all the time. You can guess right. There's too many factors here, man. There's too many factors. And remember, a bunch of these guys are nutcases. They're crazy. They're not just fired up. This isn't just hormones going off. This isn't somebody's got dopamine or neurotransmitters flowing through their head. They're hyped up. They've got adrenaline rushes and things like that. These guys are whack jobs off the field. They're whack jobs a lot of the time. They're looking at the world through wacky perceptions, wacky belief systems. A lot of these guys are not right. So you taking them seriously, or you expecting predictable outcomes from these guys? Big mistake. A big mistake. And you know where it starts? It starts with fans. One thing I've always had, a boogaboo, and I'll tell you, drop that right now when you start saying we. I used to have a lot of fun with my students in college. It's one of the stupidest things that I hear people say. I think it's stupid, and I don't mean to be negative. Maybe this is a negative show. I hope not. I hope this helps you. It's kind of like, grow up. These are guys playing a fucking kids game with all kinds of, they're all fired up on drugs. They're all fired up on billions of dollars. They've got all kinds of women and drugs and characters and shit. They got more shit being thrown at them than Carter has little liver pills, as they used to say. So you expecting anything to be scientific, predictable, filled with honor, goodness, and truth, justice, and the American way. It ain't happening, man. It's a crazy gang of nuts out there. It ain't happening. But my point being, I got lost in the weeds there for a second, is that when you start seeing we, I hope my good buddy John is listening to that. Penn State University and, any team from Pennsylvania that's loosely, we, and I'd always say, hey man, were you not at work were you someplace else on the weekend or something, not with your wife or something? Were you on the field there? What do you mean we? Do you get paid by the Phillies? Do you get paid, by the Pittsburgh Steelers or whatever? You're not on the damn team. You're a fan, man. Grow up. Or if be a kid, but be with reality. You're not a football player. It's like seeing people at the wrestling match or something. And I used to go to Sunnyside Gardens as a kid. And it was hysterical. It wasn't because I believed in shit. The entertainment was from the crazy people there and the crazy wrestlers. It was a big game. But you'd see people believing this stuff, and get really upset about it. So I might have beaten this to death, but I really don't think so, because I think those of you who are the diehard fans, you're going to say, what does this guy know what he's talking about? Josh Allen's a great man, and Peyton Manning is a wonderful person, and Beckham is a great guy. Odell Beckham he's a wonderful guy. He's a wonderful athlete. And Gronk. Come on. Beckham is a friggin' cancer. Gronk is what the hell did he do in the past couple seasons, He's a big lug sometimes. I mean, whatever. Is Tom Brady a great quarterback? Absolutely. Is Mahomes a great quarterback? Absolutely. Stafford? Absolutely. Josh Allen? They're great guys. And a lot of other guys coming out there. They're good. And do these guys work hard? For the most part, I'm sure, yeah. Look at the cashola that they get, though. Look at the other stuff that they get. Would you like to get paid, $30 million a year or all these crazy contracts? I know it's a tough sport, but come on. It's a crapshoot many times. That's all it is. Sometimes you're hot and it all comes together. Truth, justice, the American way. And other times, it's one big, you're like a turd in a punch bowl, man. Ain't nothing going right. So don't take it too seriously. Enjoy the game, or do the guys have skills? Do they work hard? I'm sure, but they're well compensated. You ain't on the team. You're a fan. Enjoy it. When these guys are, jumping around, they make one little catch and they're and doing all these motions and crazy shit and dancing around, and then you see the stupidest plays possible, how guys just out of idiocy blow the game with personal fouls and offsides and nonsense that a 12-year-old wouldn't do. Don't let it rip your heart out. Now, that's just my opinion. Now, having said that, I'll be foaming at the mouth during the Super Bowl or whatever, because we all get conditioned to do that, I guess. But I hope you take it all in the spirit of fun. And remember, sometimes you're hot, sometimes you're not, you know? So with that, I'm going to say good night. Stay safe. I'm glad to see COVID's going down in lots of parts of the country and all that kind of good stuff. And keep the faith and be well to you and your family and friends. Be nice to one another. Okay? Even those crazy football players make a lot of money. They're still good guys too. Okay? Bye-bye now.